Imagine this. You wake up one morning and someone tells you, you only have 1 hour left to live. No tomorrow, no second chance, just 60 minutes. What would you do? Would you keep scrolling on your phone? Would you worry about money? Or would you finally tell the people you love how much they mean to you? Today, you're about to hear a story that might completely change the way you see time. Stay until the end, because the final lesson is something most people realize when it's already too late. Before we begin, if you are learning English through stories, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to English with Mo, and tell us in the comments, what would you do if you had only 1 hour left? Now, let's begin. Ethan Parker lived in a small apartment in a busy city. His alarm rang at 7 o'clock every morning. Beep, beep, beep. Without opening his eyes, he reached for his phone. He checked his messages, then Instagram, then YouTube, then the news. 30 minutes passed. Just like that. He finally got out of bed. He looked at himself in the mirror. He looked tired. Not because he worked too hard, but because he had stopped feeling excited about life. Every day felt exactly the same. Wake up, go to work, come home, watch videos, sleep, repeat, and sometimes he asked himself, is this really my life? But the question disappeared as quickly as it came. He always told himself, I'll change next week. I'll start exercising next month. I'll call my parents this weekend. I'll learn something new soon. Soon? Next week? Next month? Those words became his favorite excuse. Deep inside, Ethan had dreams. He wanted to write a book. He wanted to travel around the world. He wanted to start his own business. He wanted to become someone people remembered. But dreams stayed inside his notebook. Year after year, dust slowly covered its pages. That morning, he grabbed a cup of coffee and rushed to work. He almost missed the bus. Again, the driver smiled. You should wake up earlier. Ethan laughed. I know, Paul. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. That word appeared again. He didn't know it yet. But tomorrow was about to disappear. As Ethan entered his office, everything looked normal. People answered emails. Phones kept ringing. Keyboards clicked nonstop. His manager walked over. Ethan? Can I see you for a minute? Of course. The manager closed the office door. Ethan, you've worked here for 6 years. You're a good employee. But lately, you look like someone who isn't really here. Those words hit Ethan harder than he expected. He smiled politely. I'm just tired. The manager nodded. I hope you find what you're looking for. On his lunch break, Ethan walked outside. The sun was shining. Children were laughing in a nearby park. Birds flew across the bright blue sky. For a moment, everything slowed down. Then, his phone vibrated. An unknown number. He almost ignored it. But something told him, answer. He pressed the green button. Hello? A calm voice answered. Good afternoon, Ethan. I have something important to tell you. Ethan frowned. Who is this? There was a short silence. Then the stranger said, You only have 1 hour left. The call ended. Ethan looked at the screen. No number, no name, nothing. He laughed. What a stupid prank. He put the phone back into his pocket and walked away. But for some reason, his heart started beating faster. He couldn't explain why. He looked at his watch. 1 p.m. Exactly 1 hour. Until 2 p.m. Chapter 2. The countdown begins. Ethan stood on the sidewalk. Cars passed in front of him. People walked quickly. Everyone seemed busy. Everyone had somewhere to go. But Ethan couldn't stop thinking about the phone call. You only have 1 hour left. He shook his head. No. It has to be a joke. He looked at his watch again. 1:05 p.m. 55 minutes left. He laughed nervously. I'm actually counting. This is ridiculous. He started walking back toward the office, but something felt different. For the first time in years, he noticed the people around him. A little girl was holding her father's hand. She looked up at him and smiled. Ethan smiled back. An old couple sat on a bench. Neither of them spoke. They simply enjoyed the warm afternoon together. A young musician played a guitar on the corner. Most people ignored him, but Ethan stopped. He listened for a full minute. The music was beautiful. He realized something. Usually, he never noticed any of these things. His life was always moving too fast. Or maybe he was. When he returned to the office, his computer was still open. Dozens of unread emails. His manager walked by. Ethan? Can you finish the Johnson report today? Normally, he would say, of course. But today? He stared at the screen. Then he asked himself, if I really had 1 hour left, would I spend it answering emails? The answer was obvious. No. He closed the laptop. His coworkers looked surprised. Everything okay? Ethan smiled. I think I need some fresh air. He walked out of the building. Nobody stopped him. 1:15 p.m., 45 minutes left. He sat on a park bench. His phone was in his hand. He opened his contacts. Hundreds of names, friends, coworkers, old classmates, people he hadn't spoken to in years. But there was one name. He hadn't called in almost 3 weeks. Mom. He stared at the screen. His finger didn't move. Why was it so hard to make one simple phone call? He remembered every excuse. I'm busy. I'll call tomorrow. I'll visit next month. Always later. Never now. He pressed the call button. His mother answered after 2 rings. Ethan! What a surprise! Her voice sounded happy. Very happy. Hi, Mom. I just wanted to hear your voice. There was a short silence. Then she laughed softly. Are you okay? You never call in the middle of the day. Ethan looked at the sky. I'm okay. I miss you. His mother's voice became gentle. I miss you too. When are you coming home? Ethan couldn't answer, because he didn't know. His eyes filled with tears, not because he was afraid of dying, but because he suddenly realized how many important moments he had postponed. After the call, he stayed silent for a long time. The wind moved through the trees. Children laughed nearby. Life continued, as if nothing had happened. His watch vibrated. 1:25 p.m., 35 minutes left. Then, his phone rang again. The same, unknown number. His hands started shaking. He answered immediately. Who are you? The calm voice returned. I told you. 1 hour. You've already used 25 minutes. Ethan swallowed. What do you want from me? The stranger answered with one sentence. I'm giving you something most people never receive. The chance to know how valuable 1 hour really is. The line went dead. Chapter 3. The List of Regrets. Ethan sat alone in the park. The afternoon sun was slowly moving across the sky. People were still laughing. Cars still filled the streets. Nothing around him had changed. But inside, everything was different. He looked at his watch. 1:30 p.m., 30 minutes left. 30 minutes. That was all. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about tomorrow. He was thinking about today, about now. He opened the Notes app on his phone. His fingers stayed still. Then he typed 3 words. My Regrets. He stared at the title. His heart felt heavy. What had he done with 32 years of life? He began writing. I worked too much. He paused. No, that wasn't true. He hadn't worked too much. He had wasted too much time. Hours on social media, hours complaining, hours waiting for the perfect moment, thousands of hours, gone forever. He deleted the sentence. Then he wrote again. I wasted time. His second regret came quickly. I didn't spend enough time with my family. He remembered every birthday he had missed, every dinner he had canceled, every promise he had broken. I'll visit next week. I'm busy today. Maybe next month. He suddenly realized something. The people who loved him had never asked for expensive gifts. They only wanted his time. The third regret hurt even more. I stopped believing in my dreams. He remembered the notebook, the old notebook hidden inside a drawer at home. Inside it were ideas, business plans, travel destinations, book titles, goals, dreams that had never become reality. Not because they were impossible, but because he had waited, and waited, and waited. A small voice interrupted his thoughts. Excuse me, sir. Ethan looked up. A little boy stood in front of him. He couldn't have been older than 8. The boy smiled. Is this yours? He was holding Ethan's wallet. It had fallen from the bench. Ethan smiled warmly. Yes. Thank you. The boy handed it back. Then he started walking away. After a few steps, he turned around. My dad always says, the smallest good action can change someone's day. Then he ran back to his family. Ethan watched him disappear into the crowd. He smiled. Such a simple sentence, yet it felt important. He opened his wallet. Inside was an old photograph. It was taken 10 years ago. Ethan, his parents, his younger sister. Everyone was smiling. He couldn't remember the last time they had taken a picture together. He whispered, when did life become so busy? Or maybe, when did I become too busy for life? His watch beeped. 1:40 p.m. 20 minutes left. His breathing became faster. 20 minutes. He looked around. If this really was his last hour, what mattered most? Money? No. His job? No. His car? No. His apartment? No. Only people. Only memories. Only love. Only time. He suddenly stood up. I have to go. He didn't know where. He only knew. He couldn't spend the last 20 minutes sitting on a bench. He started running, faster than he had run in years. People looked at him with surprise. His phone vibrated again. Another message. Unknown sender. This time, there were only 6 words. Time reveals what truly matters. Ethan stopped for just 1 second. He read the message again. Then he put the phone in his pocket and kept running. He still didn't know who was sending the messages. But one thing had become clear. The hour wasn't only counting down. It was waking him up. Chapter 4. The Forgotten Promise. Ethan ran as fast as he could. His heart pounded inside his chest. His watch showed 1:42 p.m. Only 18 minutes remained. He stopped in front of a small coffee shop, not because he wanted coffee, because he remembered something. 5 years ago, he had sat at the exact same table with his younger sister Emma. She was smiling, always smiling. She had just finished college. She looked at Ethan and said, "Promise me something." Ethan laughed. "What is it?" "When you finally have time, let's travel together. Just one trip. No work, no phones. Just us." Ethan smiled. "I promise." Emma reached out her hand. They shook hands like children. Then they laughed. It seemed like such a simple promise, but life became busy. Or, at least, that was Ethan's excuse. Emma called him many times. "Are you free next month?" "Maybe." "How about summer?" I'm busy. What about Christmas? Maybe next year. Next year became 5 years. The trip never happened. Ethan pulled out his phone. He searched for Emma's name. His finger hovered over the call button. What if she didn't answer? What if she was angry? What if... It was already too late. He took a deep breath. Then he called. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3 rings. Finally, "Hello?" Emma answered. Her voice sounded surprised. "Ethan? Everything okay?" He couldn't speak for a moment. Finally, he whispered, "I'm sorry." Silence. Emma didn't understand. "For what?" "For all the times I said, 'I'm too busy.'" Another silence. Then she laughed softly. "You really are acting strange today." Ethan smiled through tears. "I know. I just wanted to say, I should have kept my promise." Emma became quiet. Then she answered gently, "We still have time." Those 4 words hit him harder than anything else. We still have time. Did they? He looked at his watch. 1:46 p.m. 14 minutes left. "I love you, Emma." He had never said those words to his sister on the phone before. She smiled. He could hear it in her voice. "I love you too. And don't disappear again." "I won't." He wanted to believe it, more than anything. They ended the call. Ethan stood completely still. A strange feeling filled his heart. For years, he thought success meant earning more money, getting promoted, buying a bigger apartment, owning a better car. But none of those things came to his mind today. Only people, only moments, only words left unsaid. As he walked away from the cafe, he noticed an elderly man sitting alone on a bench. The man was feeding pigeons. He looked peaceful. Their eyes met. The old man smiled. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" Ethan nodded. "Yes." The man looked at the sky. "When you're young, you think life is long. When you're old, you wonder where it went." Ethan stared at him. "How old are you?" 83? "What's the biggest lesson you've learned?" The old man didn't answer immediately. Instead, he threw another handful of birdseed onto the ground. Then he said, "People always think they need more time. But most of the time, they simply need better priorities." Ethan felt chills. How could a complete stranger describe his entire life in one sentence? Before he could say another word, a city bus stopped between them. Passengers got on and off. The bus drove away. The bench was empty. The old man was gone. There was no place nearby where he could have walked in just a few seconds. Ethan looked around in confusion. It was as if the man had disappeared. His phone vibrated once more. Another message. No sender. Just one sentence. "The richest people are not those with more time, but those who use it wisely." Ethan closed his eyes. This was no longer just a prank. Someone, or something, was trying to teach him a lesson. He looked at his watch. 1:50 p.m. Only 10 minutes remained. Chapter 5. 10 minutes left. Ethan looked at his watch. 1:50 p.m. 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. His hands were shaking now. He was no longer sure this was a joke. Every message, every conversation, every strange moment felt too real. He whispered to himself, "What if it's true? What if I really have only 10 minutes left?" For a moment, he stopped running. He closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. Then he asked himself one simple question. Where do I want to spend my last 10 minutes? Not at work, not in traffic, not checking emails, not looking at a screen. There was only one place. Home. He called a taxi. The driver stopped beside him. "Where to?" "My apartment." "As fast as you can, please." The driver looked in the mirror. "Everything okay?" Ethan smiled weakly. "I hope so." The taxi moved through the busy streets. Every red light felt longer than usual. Every second mattered. He looked out of the window. People argued over parking spaces. Someone shouted because of traffic. A man was angry that his coffee had spilled. Ethan almost laughed. Just 1 hour ago, those things would have bothered him too. Now, they seemed completely meaningless. The taxi stopped. 1:54 p.m. 6 minutes left. Ethan ran into the building. He climbed the stairs 2 at a time. His breathing became heavier. Finally, he reached his apartment. He unlocked the door. Everything inside was quiet, exactly as he had left it that morning. The television, the kitchen, the sofa. Nothing had changed. Except him. He walked up, straight to his bedroom. He knelt beside the bed, then reached underneath it. His fingers touched a dusty cardboard box. He slowly pulled it out. On top was an old notebook. The same notebook he hadn't opened in years. He brushed away the dust. The first page read, "Dreams." He smiled sadly. Inside were dozens of ideas. A business plan. A novel he wanted to write. Places he wanted to visit. Languages he wanted to learn. Goals for every year of his life. He turned the pages faster. Then, he stopped. There was one sentence, written in large letters. "Don't spend your life preparing to live. Live." Ethan stared at it. He didn't remember writing those words, but somehow, his younger self had understood something that his older self had forgotten. A tear rolled down his face. "I was so full of hope," he whispered. "What happened to me?" He already knew the answer. Nothing had happened. He had simply become comfortable. Comfort had slowly stolen his courage, one safe decision at a time, one postponed dream at a time, until years disappeared. His watch beeped. 1:57 p.m., 3 minutes left. He closed the notebook. Then he looked around the apartment, the expensive television, the furniture, the decorations, everything he had worked so hard to buy. None of it mattered now. Not one single thing. If he disappeared in 3 minutes, someone else would own it. But no one could live the life he had failed to live. His phone rang again. Unknown number. He answered immediately. His voice was calm now. "I know. My time is almost over." The familiar voice replied. "Are you afraid?" Ethan looked around his apartment. Then he answered honestly. "Yes." There was a pause. "But I'm not afraid of dying anymore." The voice remained silent. Ethan continued. "I'm afraid of how much life I wasted." Another silence. Then the stranger asked one final question. "If today were not your last day, what would you change?" Ethan didn't hesitate. "Everything. I would stop waiting. I would call my family more. I would chase my dreams. I would spend less time on my phone. I would tell people I love them. I would actually live." The stranger quietly said, "Good." The call ended. Ethan slowly lowered the phone. He looked at his watch. 1:59 p.m. 1 minute left. He sat down on the floor, closed his eyes, and waited. He wasn't thinking about money, or success, or work. He was thinking about one sentence. Life is not measured by the years you have, but by the moments you truly live. The room became completely silent. The clock kept ticking. Tick, tick, tick. Then, 2:00 p.m., nothing happened. No pain, no darkness, no heartbeat stopping. Just silence. Ethan slowly opened his eyes. He was still alive. But then, his phone vibrated one last time. A new message appeared on the screen. "Congratulations, the lesson begins now." Ethan frowned. What does that mean? Before he could think any further, someone knocked on his apartment door. 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. He walked toward the door. His heart was beating fast again. He reached for the handle and opened it. His eyes widened in shock. Standing in front of him was someone he never expected to see. Chapter 6. The Visitor. Ethan slowly opened the door. A man stood outside. He looked calm, well-dressed, around 60 years old, gray hair, kind eyes. There was something familiar about his face, but Ethan couldn't understand why. The man smiled. "May I come in?" Ethan hesitated. Do I know you?" The man looked at him for a moment. Then he answered, "In a way, yes." Without waiting for permission, he stepped inside. He looked around the apartment. The same old couch? The same bookshelf? The same dreams? Still waiting. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked toward the dusty notebook lying on the table. He gently touched its cover. "You were going to write a book. You wanted to travel. You wanted to start your own company. You even planned to learn Spanish." He smiled sadly. "But you kept saying, 'one day.'" Ethan froze. "I never told anyone those things." The man looked into his eyes. "No, you only told yourself." The room became silent. Finally, Ethan asked, "Did you make the phone calls?" The man nodded. "Yes." "Why?" "To save your life." Ethan laughed nervously. "But I'm alive." The man slowly shook his head. "Were you?" Those 3 words echoed through the room. "Were you?" Ethan had no answer. The stranger walked toward the window. He watched people walking below. Then he quietly said, "Most people don't die when their heart stops. They die when they stop dreaming. They stop learning. They stop loving. They stop noticing life. They simply exist." Ethan felt every word because he knew that had been him. The man reached into his coat pocket. He took out a folded piece of paper. "This belongs to you." Ethan opened it. It was old, very old. He recognized the handwriting immediately. His own. It was a letter he had written when he was 20 years old. It said, "Dear future me, I hope you never become afraid of trying. I hope you never choose comfort over purpose. I hope you still laugh often. I hope mom and dad are proud of you. I hope you kept your promises. And if you ever forget who you are, read this letter again. Life is short. Don't waste it. Ethan, age 20. His hands began to shake. He couldn't remember writing it, but every word felt alive. A tear fell onto the paper. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm sorry I forgot you." The older man smiled gently. "You still have time." Those words sounded different now, not like a promise, like a gift. Ethan looked up. "I still don't know who you are." The man smiled. Then he answered, "I'm the person you could become." Silence. Ethan stared at him. "What?" "If you continue wasting your life, I disappear. But if you decide to truly live, you'll meet me someday, as the man you've always wanted to be." Ethan blinked, just once. When he opened his eyes, the apartment was empty. The man was gone. No footsteps, no sound. Nothing. Only the letter, still resting in his hands. He looked toward the door. It was still locked from the inside, as if no one had ever entered. His phone vibrated one last time. A final message appeared. "Your last hour is over. Your new life begins now." Ethan slowly smiled. For the first time, not because life was easy, but because he finally understood what mattered. Chapter 7. A New Beginning. The next morning, Ethan woke up before his alarm. For a few seconds, he lay quietly in bed. He listened. The birds outside, the wind against the window, the soft sound of the city waking up. Yesterday, he never noticed those sounds. Today, they felt like music. He smiled. I have another day. Not because he deserved it, but because he had been given a second chance. He reached for his phone, out of habit. Then he stopped. He looked at the screen for a long moment. How many hours had he lost here? Hours that could have become memories, conversations, books, dreams. He opened his social media apps, one by one. He deleted the ones that stole most of his time. The screen became almost empty. For the first time, his phone felt lighter, and somehow, so did his mind. Instead of checking notifications, he opened his notebook, the old one, the dusty one. He turned to a blank page, then he wrote one sentence. Today is day 1, not Monday, not next month, not next year. Today. He left his apartment, but he didn't go to work, not yet. Instead, he bought fresh flowers. Then he drove to his parents' house. His mother opened the door. She looked surprised. Ethan? What are you doing here? He smiled. I came for breakfast. She laughed. You've never come this early. I know. I've missed too many breakfasts. She hugged him tightly, longer than usual. His father walked into the room. Without saying anything, Ethan hugged him too. His father looked confused. Then he smiled. I guess somebody had a good day yesterday. Ethan smiled. You could say that? They sat together. They talked. Not about work, not about money, not about problems. They talked about childhood, old vacations, funny family stories. Hours passed, but Ethan never looked at his phone. Not once. That afternoon, he visited Emma. She opened the door with a smile. I wasn't expecting you. I know. I wanted to surprise you. He handed her 2 plane tickets. She looked down, then back at him. What is this? Our trip. You remember? Tears filled her eyes. You actually did it. Ethan smiled. I should have done it years ago. Emma hugged him. This time, neither of them wanted to let go. On Monday morning, Ethan returned to work. His manager invited him into the office. So, feeling better? Ethan smiled. Much better. His manager noticed something different. Ethan looked calm, confident, present, not distracted, not exhausted, just alive. What changed? Ethan thought for a moment. Then he answered, I stopped waiting for life to begin. Weeks passed, then months. Ethan didn't become rich overnight. He didn't become famous. Life wasn't suddenly perfect. He still had difficult days. He still made mistakes. He still felt afraid sometimes. But one thing never returned: the habit of saying, I'll do it tomorrow. Whenever he caught himself saying those words, he remembered 1 hour, the hour that changed everything. One evening, he sat at his desk, the same apartment, but a completely different man. He opened his laptop, not to watch videos, not to waste time. He opened a blank document. At the top, he typed the title of his first book, The Last Hour. He smiled, placed his fingers on the keyboard, and began writing. The first sentence was simple. Everything changed the day I believed I had only 1 hour left to live. Chapter 8. The Final Lesson. Years passed. Not days, not weeks, years. Ethan kept the old notebook on his desk every morning, before opening his laptop, before answering emails, before starting work. He looked at one sentence. Today is a gift. It reminded him that life could change in just 1 hour. His book was finally published. It wasn't the best-selling book in the world, but people loved it. Not because it was perfect, because it was honest. Readers often asked him the same question. Did that phone call really happen? Ethan always smiled. Then he answered, I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. But the lesson was real. One evening, after giving a speech at a small library, a young man walked toward him. He looked nervous. Mr. Parker, I've been waiting to meet you. Ethan smiled. It's nice to meet you. The young man held Ethan's book tightly. I've been wasting my life. I keep saying, I'll start tomorrow. But after reading your story, I called my mother. I quit the job I hated. I finally started my own business. Thank you. Ethan looked at him quietly. Then he smiled. You don't need to thank me. Thank the hour. The young man looked confused. What hour? Ethan simply smiled. The one you finally decided to live. That night, Ethan walked home under a sky full of stars. The city was quiet. A cool breeze moved through the empty streets. He reached into his pocket. The old letter was still there. The letter written by his 20-year-old self. Its edges were worn. The paper had turned yellow. But the words were still as powerful as ever. He folded it carefully and placed it back into his pocket. As he reached his apartment building, his phone vibrated. He stopped walking. Slowly, he took it out. The screen lit up. Unknown number. His heart skipped a beat. For a second, he felt exactly as he had years ago. He answered, Hello? Silence. Then, the same calm voice spoke. I'm glad. You didn't waste the time. The call ended. No explanation, no number, no answer, only silence. Ethan smiled. This time, he didn't try to call back. Some mysteries don't need answers. He looked up at the night sky. Then he whispered, Thank you. Not to the stranger, not to fate, not to luck, but to life itself, for giving him another chance. Narrator. Maybe you and I will never receive a phone call like Ethan did. Maybe no one will ever tell us you have only 1 hour left. And maybe that's exactly why we keep wasting today. We believe there will always be another morning, another Monday, another new year, another chance, but the truth is, none of us knows how much time we have. The only thing we truly own is this moment, right now, this breath, this conversation, this day. Don't wait to tell someone you love them. Don't wait to forgive. Don't wait to chase your dream. Don't wait to become the person you want to be, because one day you may discover that the perfect time was always today. Ending CTA narrator. If this story made you think, even for 1 minute, then it has done its job. Tell us in the comments. What is one thing you've been postponing that you'll start today? And if you enjoy learning English through meaningful stories, please like this video, subscribe to English with Mo, and join us for another journey next week. Until then, take care of your time, because time is life. The end.